From 1939 to 1941, the German planned to invade Gibraltar. Operation Felix. Spain was a bystander in World War II and of marginal interest to the combatants of either side, but the Rock of Gibraltar, connected to the Spanish mainland, was another matter. The Führer and the Generalissimo had rather less in common than we might expect, except for their low opinion of one another. "That fat sergeant," Hitler said of Spanish dictator Francisco Franco after their railway carriage conference at Hendaye, France in October 1940. Franco likened him to a stage actor. No matter. Though in principle allies, their two nations weren't closely involved. Franco wasn't a joiner, he wanted what he could get out of Hitler's war, chiefly French Morocco. But, as the Führer didn't fail to see, he wasn't interested in doing any of the heavy lifting. Spain had, in fairness, been left utterly exhausted by its civil war. Destination: Gibraltar. To some extent, however, the two countries were already working together, and had been for several months, getting up plans for a major assault that would take Gibraltar. Gibraltar has always loomed large strategically because of its position that enables it to control traffic in and out of the Mediterranean Sea. At Hendaye, Hitler formally asked Franco for his permission to mount an attack through Spain. The Rock, he promised, would be handed over to Spain once the Allies had been defeated. Franco remained non-committal, but Hitler was determined to pursue the project. In November, in Führer Directive No. 18, he outlined his plan for Operation Felix. General Ludwig Kubler would bring one army corps streaming south across the Pyrenees and down through Spain. Rudolf Schmidt's 2nd Panzer Army would provide protection in the rear, and fighters and dive bombers would fly from Spanish airfields in support. Besieging Britain. With the Battle of Britain already lost, Hitler could see the focus of the fighting shifting. If the country couldn't be taken, it could be put to siege. The Kriegsmarine had from the first been doing its best to isolate Britain. U-boats were wreaking havoc on transatlantic shipping. Hitler now intended to turn the screw. The fighting for North Africa was not entirely about oil, as is frequently assumed. It is important to remember that the countries along the southern shore of the Mediterranean control the approaches to the Suez Canal. A strong Italian presence in the region already, and the fact that French Morocco and Algeria were now under Axis control, made it seem possible to cut Britain off completely from its Eastern Empire. A lukewarm response. Franco again cast cold water on the plans. With most of its population barely on the breadline, Spain couldn't possibly sustain a major military offensive. In any case, he asked insultingly how could he be sure that Hitler would ever be in the position to give him Gibraltar. He was all too clearly unconvinced that Germany was going to win the war. Weeks passed, and the Spanish dictator brushed off repeatedly requests by Germany and Italy alike. Hitler was ready to proceed without his permission, and to take the country's colonies in North Africa to use as bases for his U-boats. In June 1941, however, Operation Barbarossa began and his priorities changed. Operation Felix was stored on the shelf.